There have been several tabs open on my browser for the last few weeks that I've wanted to talk about. And on those tabs are stories that I have just sort of had open. And one that really piqued my interest was all about the Haven Studio merger or purchase or whatever you want to call it with PlayStation. Basically, PlayStation finally confirmed that Haven Studios is a part of their team. And Haven Studios is actually doing some really, really interesting stuff. So let's start there, and if we have time, we'll go through the other stuff, but we'll focus on this for the beginning of the video and then go from there. Let's dive right in. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell. Did you know 75% of people are not subscribed to this channel? That's just crazy. Almost as crazy as not subscribing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Please subscribe. Anyway, so it was confirmed a while back. It was a few weeks ago that Haven is now part of the PlayStation Studios family officially. And then alongside this, there was an interview, which we'll get to in just a second. But if you're wondering what they are creating, the studio is focusing on creating an original AAA multiplayer game. Will not only flex the power of PlayStation 5, but will further expand the diverse catalog of gaming experiences that can only be found on PlayStation. Today's announcement described its game debut as a new live service experience for PlayStation, built upon systemic and evolving world, focusing on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness. So I was really intrigued about this new project, especially with the Bungie purchase lately. So I went ahead and read the interview with gamesindustry.biz, and there's a few notable parts that I wanted to focus on today. So Jade Raymond's talking with them, and here's some of the quotes that I pulled from here. For starters, it's a company filled with established talent, not just Raymond, but a whole number of experienced names who were behind major hits such as Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six Siege. They're based in Canada, I believe in Montreal, so people are really easily able to come on over from Ubisoft, right, with tons of experience. The developer is also making a live service title, which fits neatly with Sony's stated ambition to push further into online service-based games. And it also sees PlayStation gain a presence in Canada, one of the world's most successful game development countries. There's a lot of game studios in Canada, like Silicon Knights was based there. Ubisoft is there in Montreal. There's others that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but there's a lot of talent there. So the fact that they've managed to grab some of that is really, really interesting. But what I find really cool is how they're creating a hybrid workforce to make some really, really cool gaming properties. We already mentioned that we built a studio in a cloud, and that was our vision since we started during the pandemic, Raymond tells us. We didn't have offices at first, and we thought, why not innovate here and avoid people having these big machines and VPNing in? We had a cloud team initially that was about 6 people working on new ways to work. Now, we've just welcomed another 21 engineers to focus on long-term cloud innovation because we really believe it's going to be a game changer in terms of how games are made. They go on to talk about how some people work better working from home. There's an interaction element that you lose if you're not going into the office. But it is interesting that they're doubling down on this. And they're not the only company doubling down on it. We know Microsoft is working on the, I believe it's Azure service, which will allow people to utilize the cloud basically to create video games. And it does seem like more and more people are looking at this technology. And the reason being is that you can hire people from anywhere in the world if you're able to figure out the tech to do it. And it's really, really cool to see this sort of innovation spurned in large part due to the pandemic, which is positive to come out of all of it. So anyway, when you think about the game engines that we have around, they were all built several years ago and things have changed a lot. Our games have a lot more data. We're making an exclusive for PlayStation 5 and it's a live service game. So we have additional challenges of how do we make that kind of game with that kind of delivery, but with the PlayStation level graphics that people expect, all while allowing for those constant updates and building something that could be a living experience. So that's really cool. They're talking about what they're going to develop, how it's going to be live service, and how it's going to be a living experience. So maybe with the data, they're going to be able to create something that's ever evolving, and that's going to be influenced by how players play and interact with the game. So they need a lot of team members to do that, and I found that really interesting. One of the people helping them out actually is Marc Cerney. So Marc Cerney has been able to come over and help them out with their game. And we all know Marc Cerney's incredibly intelligent. He helped create the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles. And obviously they're very powerful, and it's cool what developers have been able to do with them. So the fact that he's helping them with their game is even more interesting, as long as it's not Knack again. Yeah, Knack, not my favorite game. Anyway, so now we're looking at the next step. How do we innovate in terms of certain modules that the live service and engine needs? And how do we do those things in a more scalable way that will really enable us to have a more rapidly evolving game and more productive people? That's the dream. So if you think about what's going on at PlayStation right now, they brought on Bungie, one of the best live service developers in the industry. They have Jade Raymond making a live service game with her team over at Haven Studios. They brought Haven into the fold. Haven and Bungie are in the fold, and they're working with Marc Cerney. I think it's I don't think it's hyperbole to say that it certainly seems like the Haven project is a very important project for the company. And having all of these pieces in place and all these collaborations available for them is going to be a really, really big deal for PlayStation in the coming weeks. Real quick, I guess we can talk about some of the other projects going on at Sony, seeing that wrapped up pretty quickly. I just want to talk about my excitement for the Haven project. They actually rolled out NTSC options for a majority of classic games offered on PlayStation Plus Premium and Deluxe Plan in Asia, Europe, Middle East, etc., etc. So that was good. They were able to offer more stuff there. There was also an update on Forspoken. So Forspoken was delayed to January 24th, 2023. Kind of a bummer for me. I'm actually really looking forward to Forspoken. And here's what they said. As a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we have made the strategic decision to move the launch date of Forspoken to January 24th, 2023. All game elements are now complete and development is in its final polishing phase. We would like to thank you for your continued support and patience on this journey. Your excitement for the game inspires us every day. We cannot wait to share more about Forspoken with you later this summer. So I think we get a full-blown Forspoken state of play, and I'm here for it. Would love to hear more about whatever is going on with Forspoken and what that game is actually going to entail. Oh my goodness. And then finally, Final Fantasy, what is it? XVI, that's 16. Final Fantasy 16 is not going to have turn-based combat. I found this to be really interesting. Final Fantasy 16 is another game I'm really looking forward to. PlayStation has a lot of stuff that's going to be really good in 2023 and beyond. And this year, you know, like they have Stray this week that a lot of people are finding to be their jam. And on the Xbox side, you know, we got the Hot Wheels update basically for Forza Horizon, and that seems like a lot of silly fun. And surprisingly, that Dusk game, After Dusk Till Dawn, I can't remember the name of it, but that's getting a lot of positive attention, so I'm going to have to actually play it now and see what the hubbub's all about. But anyway, back on Final Fantasy 16, combat is still a multifaceted issue, citing the past decade of some users questioning command-based video games. The opinions of the younger audience who don't play RPGs, and the sheer march of time and technology, Yoshida explains. For several console generations now, all character expressions can be done in real time. Actions such as press the trigger and your character will shoot a gun can now be easily expressed without going through a command system. It's now common for gamers younger than me to love such games. As a result, it seems that it does not make much sense to go through a command prompt, such as battle, to make a decision during a battle. And you know what? He actually brings up a good point. I remember Final Fantasy, what was it, 12? Yeah, 11 was the MMO, the first MMO, which I played a lot of back in the day. And then Final Fantasy 12 sort of had that real-time combat system. You can actually program your other characters to like auto attack and things like that. So I'm totally fine with that. I actually like when there's a slowdown and you're able to make a decision, but it's just sort of brief. But I'm into this. I think it's going to make gameplay a lot more fluid, a lot more interesting, and fast in terms of how the game plays. And Final Fantasy 16 is looking great. So those were some big updates about what's going on over at PlayStation. I think I'll save the God of War update for another video, but I do want to thank you for watching. That's what's been going on at PlayStation. A few smaller stories. I think that I could have done a whole video just on Haven, but I wanted to get those other updates in because I don't think the other ones were big enough to have their own piece of content. But I do think Haven is really, really cool. And I think people should be paying attention to what's going on over there. Haven seems like a really, really big win for PlayStation, especially when you consider the fact that Marc Cerney is working with them. They just brought Bungie into the fold. I think there's going to be some really interesting stuff coming out of Haven and a few of the other studios in the coming years. Time will tell. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know it goes live. Thank you so much for watching this morning. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much to the members that support this channel. I greatly appreciate your support if you are a member. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. And if you would like to support the channel, click that join button right down there. It allows me to keep doing what I do. I'm going to get out of here, everybody, but I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.